Welcome to the Cash Pay Podcast, the go-to podcast for med spas, IV therapy clinics, and wellness practices ready to grow, scale, and lead in the cash pay medical space. I'm your host, Hillary Small, founder of the MedSpa Society. I've branded, developed, and launched practices across the U.S., and I'm still in the trenches every day working alongside practice owners just like you. The show is honest, authentic, and built on real-world experience. Each week, you'll get expert strategies and unfiltered insights on marketing, operations, cutting-edge treatments, patient experience, and more, so you can run a profitable, efficient, and rewarding business. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Cash Pay Podcast. I'm Hillary Small, your host and founder of the MedSpa Society. I'm really excited about today's episode. We're going to talk about the formula for building $1 million aesthetics and wellness practice. The purpose of this episode is really to give you an overview and the cliff notes, and I'm going to go through these things pretty quickly because what it is going to do is set the foundation for what you can expect from upcoming episodes. We're going to dive into all of the different aspects of the things that I'm going to go through and talk about today. So we're not going to go through the tactical things, all of the small little things like you need to do this for your phone system, you need to here's where you can get, this thing and that thing. We've actually built a free guide for that, and it's available in the show description. So something you need to think about as you are going into starting your business and starting your practice is, are you doing this to create a job for yourself or build a legacy and a practice that may become a multi-location or be acquired in the future? And either approach is fine. I'm always thinking about it from the perspective of the latter. When we're working with those who are starting their businesses, I'm always looking at it from, okay, what could this potentially be in the future? So when it comes to thinking about revenue, I want to give you a scenario, a formula that you can think about. So the average patient, and this is an industry number and statistic, their ticket is, when they check out, it's $543. So as a single provider, assuming that you're a very well-rounded, seasoned injector, possibly can also administer wellness services and treatments like, peptides and hormone therapy. If you're seeing approximately 9 patients a day, and again, this is an average, this will equate to approximately $100,000 per month in a 20-day month. This isn't you just running around doing everything by yourself. You will need adequate support staff. So maybe that is, a medical assistant that is able to be multifunctional to start off with. And I'm not saying that this is the way that you should do it. All I'm saying is that to put it in perspective and, really understand from a gross revenue what that looks like and really simplifying it. If you want to experiment with this and use actual scenarios from your practice or, your plans for your practice, you can run those scenarios with your financial advisor, or you can use AI to help you and prompt it with your specific details like the size of your practice, the number of rooms, your service menu and pricing, your typical patient service mix, the number of providers, the services they cover, the hours that they work. We actually created a free tool because we use this scenario for our clients that we're working with all the time. We want to help them when, we're starting off and building their menus and things like that. We created a free tool within ChatGPT. It's called MedSpa Profit Pro. It can help you do just this, and it's free. You don't need to put any information. All you need to do is be set up with ChatGPT. We're going to put it in the link below, but again, it'll help you really understand right off the bat what the numbers are. Well, I think AI can be a great tool for planning and prepping and getting an understanding of what it's going to truly take from a financial perspective and operational perspective. It can really be support in the in the planning stage, it definitely does not take the place of real world experience. It's important that you have a plan and also advisors for finance, legal, marketing. If you need a medical director, real estate, interior design, we're not going to get into great detail on the professional team in this episode. We will be in future episodes and talking to the leaders in every aspect of all of those things that I just mentioned. But again, you want to align yourself with people who have had real world experience and success in doing what you're trying to do. You have to be prepared to run it like a business. If you're coming from a medical background and, what you've done up to this point is a great medical provider, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are equipped yet to run a business. You need to know all of the things that it's going to take to be successful from a business perspective. And again, aligning yourself with those that have walked in, your shoes successfully is so important. As you're deciding on a location, you want to know the competitive landscape. You want to understand who is offering the same services in the area that you intend to open your location. Obviously, you don't want to copy them, but know who they are, know what they're doing, and you will then have just a better understanding of what gaps in the market you can fill. You're going to want to differentiate yourself, and you start off by doing this with a solid brand foundation. Branding is going to dictate how you position yourself in the market and include the strategy on how you're communicating with your target demographic. The process will also guide you in establishing your ideal patient avatar. Your brand also includes things like, your logo, your colors, your fonts, and it should integrate with your interior design. It should be a very well thought out and representation of, you, and also a brand that can take you from where you are today and help you build that foundation that I talked about as a valuable practice that is not just, a job for yourself. And it's truly something that, will be valuable, and you can continue to evolve it as the business grows. Your location matters. Are you going to be in an insulated office building or medical type building, or will you be in a visible shopping area or a mixed use building? It's going to impact how you market. Your visibility, the foot traffic in front of your location is going to impact how you market before you open, and also how you market when you're open. So if you're, again, in an insulated office building, you are going to have to rely, more so on the marketing channels, advertising, and things like that. Whereas if you are in, a shopping center, a mixed use building, there are opportunities for you to cross market, promote, have signage, and things like that. You are also going to want to think about crafting a smart menu from the beginning. So you don't have to start off with expensive devices. And one of the things that we really help analyze when we're working with people who are just starting out. So you might be transitioning with a book of business. You might be bringing somebody on board who already has a book of business, or you may be starting off with nothing. We take all of those things into consideration when we are advising our clients on what their service mix should be to start off with. If you have the patient base to support certain things, then you may start off with them. But a smart menu, just to give you an example, would be a strategic mix of aesthetics and wellness treatments that complement each other. This will allow you to build treatment plans where you know that your patients are going to get results and ultimately be coming back over periods of time and long term because they're seeing results based on what you're doing. So these services, just to give you an example, could include injectables, microneedling, PRP, PRF, chemical peels, topical and injectable peptides. You will also want to offer retail skincare products and supplements. You can start off by having a very effective, high quality curation of these skincare and supplements, and then you can expand on it as the practice grows. Another thing that you want to consider right off the bat is offering memberships. If this fits your business model, memberships are a great way, if done right, to create a predictable source of revenue and add value to your practice. If done right, memberships will give you predictable revenue every month, which is a great thing to have. When it comes to marketing, ideally, you can work with the same company that has developed your brand to also create your website, because your digital presence matters. So many times I speak to owners who really didn't have an understanding of what was needed to build a website with a great foundation for growth, which means from the beginning, you want to hire a reputable company to build the site. And like I said, ideally, it's the same company that developed your brand, because that will be a seamless transition from what has been created to lay the foundation and positioning for your practice into your digital presence. The digital landscape includes, from the beginning, when the brand has been developed, you will, if you're working on the website as you're also planning out your interiors and building out your location, you can have a coming soon page up. And depending again on your location and its visibility to foot traffic, that gives you an opportunity to have signage up on your storefront that will have a QR code or some way for people to access that coming soon page to start entering their information. You can also use this on social media, whether you're running coming soon ads or things like that. So having your digital presence and some sort of coming soon page or landing page while your website is being built is crucial and can certainly help you start to build that list and create momentum. So then you'll have your website will launch, your social media platforms. All of these things need to align with your brand. When you're creating your brand and you're working with the company that's doing that, they should also be taking into consideration your social platforms, what your Instagram page is going to look like, how your practice is going to be described, what the handle is, also your website URL. That should be a factor when it comes to naming your practice. Naming your practice is also a part of the branding process. You're also going to want to have your local business profiles set up. Those local business profiles include your Google business profile, Yelp, and Apple Business Connect. Those are the big three. And I believe with all of them, I know that you can create them before opening, but I believe with Google's business profile, that can have a coming soon up to 90 days. And we'll be talking about all of the components of a optimized Google business profile in later episodes. When it comes to marketing and marketing before your opening, you want to start doing this and building community connections even before you open. So having a plan, having your digital presence being started and, having that coming soon page and things like that done. I like to start doing this 60 to 90 days prior to opening. And this can include offsite events, having pop-up events with similar businesses and those that serve a similar demographic to you, teasing on social media, both organically and with paid ads. You can also offer incentives for a certain number of early supporters or VIPs. And when it comes to events, there's a lot that can go into them just depending on the format and the type of event. Again, on-site events, you'll definitely have those maybe a VIP event that is exclusive and happens a little bit prior to your opening, but we'll get into the details of the different types of events and how to build successful events in future episodes. As part of your marketing plan, pre-opening and when you are open, if you have an existing book of business or a provider that does, you want to make sure that you develop a plan to market to that list. This can include emails, SMS messages. Ideally, they have opted in to be marketed to. Retarget them with meta ads, call them and invite them to a VIP day. You want to make sure that if you have a list that they know where you are, that you're opening, and hit them from every direction to make sure that they know. If you have a long list and you're calling everybody, I do recommend that you pick up the phone and call, but there is an option, there's a tool that you can use, and it's called a ringless voicemail. So basically what happens is you set it up where a voicemail is dropped onto someone's phone. You upload the list, you enter your phone number in, the call is coming from you, but it's just like a missed call, and it's a ringless voicemail where you record the message. And this is a great tactic that can be used not only in the circumstance where you're trying to promote pre-opening, but in your marketing throughout. If you want to get ahead and beat the competition, overinvest in marketing, especially in the beginning. So from a marketing budget perspective, this can vary, but in the beginning, at least 15% of what you project your gross revenue to be, if not more. And when I say invest in marketing, I'm also suggesting that you build a plan and a strategy that will capitalize on organic opportunities, guerrilla marketing opportunities, business development. What falls into those categories could include offsite events and joining certain organizations, even having a person that is strictly dedicated to business development and creating relationships with other businesses and people in the community so that you can cross promote each other. Most med spas are underfunding their marketing, and it will give you a competitive edge. You also want to make sure that you have systems for everything, starting with a good practice management system. At this point, we've worked with them all, and we can provide you with a suggestion on the best system to suit your practice's needs. But a few things to look for are how they manage inventory, booking, membership, POS system integration, and the fees that go along with it, their marketing suite, and reporting. You also want to make sure that you have a system that can nurture leads immediately when coming through your website, ads, or phone calls. Most practice management systems, they do not do this. So what we do is we integrate a third-party CRM with the practice management system, and it can send an SMS immediately upon receipt of the lead and puts them in a workflow to nurture those leads to booking and beyond. And also it helps you visualize a pipeline so you can see where those leads are. Have they booked an appointment or did they opt out? And it can, in a lot of cases, integrate with your practice management system. Other systems and processes that you'll need for opening and closing, front desk training, treatment SOPs, how to handle clients from the moment they enter your ecosystem, and how to deal with issues and escalate problems. Having systems for everything, having training for your staff, making sure that the operations are consistent so that the patient experience is also consistent. Creating a culture that will keep your staff happy and engaged will lead to happy and engaged patients. And again, making sure you have a training program and standard operating procedures that you and your staff are aligned on revenue goals and expectations on how to achieve them. We are going to spend a lot of time talking about these things in future episodes. And one of the last, but definitely not least important things is having a focus on retention. As you build your practice and become becoming established, the ideal situation is that 80% of your patients are coming from referrals from other patients. And there are certain ways to go about doing this, but that is key. And then, retention, knowing when somebody, if they've had a particular service, if they haven't had this service, and, how to communicate to them and make sure that they know the breadth of everything you offer is a key to retention. And reporting, knowing your numbers, that is going to play a huge part in your retention. So many practices are lacking when it comes to actually knowing their KPIs, like when does a patient fall off? How much money is a patient bringing in? Also known as lifetime patient value. What services have they had or not? Is someone due for a refill? Knowing these things and being able to refine your processes and communicate to those patients based on where they are, if they haven't come in a while, is going to be crucial to building that 7-figure practice. You always want to book the next appointment before a patient leaves, creating long-term treatment plans, memberships, and the marketing that aligns with their journey. Those are all things that lead to retention, and that is so crucial to your practice's success. The last thing that I'm going to mention here as it relates to the tactics to building this successful aesthetics and wellness practice is developing relationships with your patient. If people are coming in and there's staff turnover and the consistency is not there and they don't know what to expect and it's not a place where they are looking forward to coming back to, they're not going to come back. They're going to find somewhere else to go. Your front desk, knowing key important dates or details and creating a true connection that goes beyond the surface, it costs nothing and goes so far. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cash Pay Podcast. Again, I'm Hillary Small, founder of the MedSpa Society. In the description below, you can find the resources that we mentioned in the episode, our tactical guide to starting your practice, the link to MedSpa Profit Pro, where you can find the MedSpa Society and connect with me online. Please like and subscribe so that you don't miss future episodes of the Cash Pay Podcast.